Hello, horror fans. Welcome back to the Mind's Eye Theater. It is I, your horror host Inkarnate. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, nocturnals, night terrors, and all things that go bump in the night. Welcome to your monthly treatment of shock therapy. The doctor will see you now. Show me your woes, and I'll cure all that ails you. Consider me your night watchman for this evening's festivities here at the Mind's Eye Theater. I invite you to violate curfew along with me for this graveyard shift. I am your horror host Inkarnate for this sold-out show. Well, folks, 2 years ago, in summer, no doubt, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, and now, 2 years later, we finally have not just the release of Lee Cronin's The Mummy, but it has now arrived on streaming. So, I figured this was a good way to not only kick off the summer, but a 4th of July weekend, even though the holiday has come and gone. I figured, you know what? It is now on streaming. I couldn't get to the streaming release date, which was July 3rd. So I figured I would still do this watch party because this was one that I've been looking forward to for quite some time. I not only did I not expect it to be so soon, man, I can't believe it's already almost been 3 months since release. It feels like this movie just came out. I'll get to my thoughts on it briefly. However, I absolutely wanted to jump at the chance to stream this movie because, well, I might as well get to it now. Let's get to what I feel, or let's get to the film rating, which I fondly refer to as the totem pole. So your options are bottom of the barrel, shallow grave, and high stakes. So for this one, I'm going with high stakes. I very much enjoyed this movie. I felt like it was, even before release, my God, it was underrated. Like, people were just writing it off. Oh, it doesn't feel like a mummy movie. We're going to get to all that. But I'm going with high stakes. So I feel as though this film just was not given a chance, and I'm happy to say that I have the totem pole up now on the chat via YouTube. If you are so inclined, I would request if everyone could vote in it. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's just good engagement for the watch party. Yeah, I gotta go with high stakes. I felt like this movie was at least going for something different, and the mummy movie genre needs something different, but I'll get to all that later on. So now that the poll is up, I will mention it throughout the watch party. However, I do ask that everyone watching now take a look at it and give your own thoughts over what the film rating is, if you've seen it before, and what your expectations are if you haven't. Now, dear viewers, let's take I invite all of you to stream the show along with me. You can queue it up on HBO Max. Let me take care of a couple of housekeeping items, which gives you some time to grab your popcorn and soda pop. And let's fire away. You will notice up top the support link if you're so inclined. And if you are in the market, the Mind's Eye Theater is a proud affiliate of the upcoming horror documentary, Mental Health and Horror. So we have the PayPal support link if you're of a mood. I'll just consider it your pound of flesh. Streamlabs was nice enough to give me my own merch store, which I will have news on within the next month or so. New designs that I'm working on. We also have sponsorships, if you check the link in the description, with both Jabra headsets as well as Samsung devices if you're in the market. And it being summer, they got to have sales. They have to have post 4th of July sales, as well as they usually have an event called. We just had Prime Day on Amazon, and they usually have a event. Black Friday in July or something like that. So that should be upcoming. So if you are looking for either Jabra headsets or Samsung devices, using the sponsorship link would just help out the channel tremendously. So we're coming to you live, streaming on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, X, Rumble, Locals, Instagram, no longer Trovo. So in the enduring battle between Inkarnate and the algorithm, my fans are my strongest weapon. Therefore, I humbly ask for all of you fine fiends to get them likes up. Therefore, let me see. Without further ado, I think that we're good to go. Therefore, Igor, throw the switch. Okay. And we will be... Hold on. We will be starting in, or I should say, right now. It's HBO Max, so hopefully there's no annoying commercials. Skip. Okay, perfect. And this is part of the... what do you call it? The return to horror for New Line Cinema, the house that Freddy built. I like that. Atomic Monster, James Wan. Yeah, so this is one of the rare times that they've done well with it, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be doing a video because it's been more miss than hit with New Line's attempt to return to the house that Freddy built with their horror. I'm glad that they're making it a priority, but yeah, it has been more miss than anything else. The overemphasis on the Conjuring movies, for instance. I was not expecting this movie to start this way. I'm not gonna lie though, when it opened with a family, I was like, oh no. What does this mean for this family? Come on, Layla, let me hear that sweet voice. No. Come on, for your dad. This is kind of that humor that doesn't really land in this movie. Show's over. You're giving me a headache. Gee, what a party pooper. All of you, she said. So again, guys, make sure you can watch along with me if you catch the film on HBO Max, and the timestamp is below for your viewing displeasure to catch up with me if you are so inclined. And you frickin' better be. See, little things like this, the bird that this was a nice callback to the original legend of the mummy, where, who was it, Lord Carnarvon's parakeet had died or was devoured by a cobra. I'm curious if this was the canary in the coal mine for them. Like, they purposely had a bird in order to serve as a warning. Who is this? Captain Martin. Hey, man. Thank you for joining. Captain Mad Martin, excuse me. Thank you for joining. Oh, jeez. And children, stay up here. She proves how cold-hearted she is. Yeah, this in the trailer to me was just like one of those what the hell moments. Like you would build, like I didn't know that the house that these people were residing in was basically built adjacent to a pyramid. Creepy stuff. I'm over here thinking that, they obviously showed a pyramid in the trailers, but I'm over here thinking like it's, just somewhere else in a different location. I'm not thinking that they live over this damn thing. And the fact that the entirety of the inside is just a black pyramid, how do we know if it is time? We check. Jesus. Chains in horror movies are always a creepy sight. They kind of spoiled this in one of the trailers. I gotta be honest. Slowly, just a crack. I gotta be honest. The very top of that sarcophagus, the fact that it like is in the point and curved point that it is, reminds me of the deity, the Egyptian deity Horus, which was a subtle but cool idea. One would think that they would like have a camera or something. Is he awake? Don't you just hate when that happens? Especially in a moment like this in a horror movie. Checking on the undead living underneath you in your basement. Happens every time. Tell me, is he awake? Thanks be to God. And then... Ouch. Lord have mercy. This part... Oh, man. The scariest part is I don't think he would die from that. That was a pretty good display of the mummy name. The title, I should say. So, following the success of Evil Dead 2020, Evil Dead Rise, producer James Wan approached Lee Cronin about directing a mummy film. Cronin initially held no particular interest in the property, as the wrapped bandage archetype of the classic monster did not align with his sensibilities. Get it? Wrapped up. He agreed after conceiving an approach that discarded the action-adventure template of previous franchise entries in favor of a grounded supernatural horror, bringing the mummy into a domestic setting and building the story around possession, exorcism themes, and the family confronting the return of their long-missing daughter. So Wan produced the film alongside James Blum, uniting their respective companies Atomic Monster and Blumhouse Productions on the project for New Line Cinema. It is a bit exaggerated. I completely forgot that he had been this particular actor, the father, had been in Ari Aster's Midsummer from 7 years ago. Yeah. Yes. He throws he throws a slipper at her. No. I thought it was interesting, this being a mixed race couple. Oh, snap. Even when watching this movie, I knew this particular part was foreboding. Yeah. Jeez, mom. Dad gets none. Doll hospital. Ouch. Kids. So Lee Cronin initially held, like I said, no particular interest in the Mummy property when producer James Wan first approached him. Oh boy, this scene. The death of Cronin's mother, who passed away suddenly on the morning he finished work on his previous film, Evil Dead Rise 2023, became the formative emotional foundation for this production. She did not live to see that film. A phone call Cronin made during the administrative aftermath of her death, asking that her false teeth be kept when her body was brought home for her wake, lodged itself in his memory and directly inspired one of this film's most memorable recurring images. Cronin consciously displaced his personal grief into a family experience, a different kind of loss, a missing child who's, oh god, this scene. Oh man, everything about this is creepy. The fact that you can't see her. Hmm. Huh. Wow. So Cronin consciously displaces personal grief into a family experience, experiencing a different kind of loss, a missing child, whose absence leaves an incompletable void. He described that distinction as, quote, a very different and unsatisfiable hole to fill. And the funeral sequence in this film drew on his direct experience of Irish wakes. And this is where the father spots something not quite right. Oh man. Even still, this is an uncomfortable watch. I mean, it hits different when it's something, when it's a horror involving a child. Ugh. And she looks exceptionally creepy. Ugh. And I had seen this scene in the trailers, but oh man, I thought it was an adult that this happens to. Haha. Panic mode. Oh my god. Ugh. Jeez, these close-ups, man. Hard to watch, truly. Ugh, and it doesn't knock her out immediately. Yeah, like I watch plenty of horror movies, obviously, but man, it really hits different when it's an abduction and a child abduction at that. Ugh, the immediate terror. I had a borderline panic attack watching this just because, I mean, as a lifeguard, I was once involved in a situation where I had to find a child on a beach. And it wasn't even my beach. It wasn't it wasn't like I was working that shift. I just happened to be at that beach, and I had to find a missing child. This scene was also like surprising because I wasn't expecting the sandstorm to happen at the beginning of the movie. For some reason, I figured it would happen at the end. Oh, that was why. Even though I knew of the abduction of the child, I didn't know that it would happen, or that the sandstorm would coincide with it. Captain Mad Martin asks, "How have you been, friend?" I've actually been really good, thank you. How was your Fourth of July weekend? I'm getting to this watch party because this came out 2 days ago, like I mentioned at the top of the stream. But I really wanted to make sure, as you think mummies, you think desert, you think hot, you think summer. So I wanted to make sure that I got to this watch party. And because I think that this is a really good movie and sadly underrated and undervalued. See, now on second watch, you would think that maybe, well, I should say on first watch, you would think that maybe the magician had something to do with this sandstorm. But now on second watch, because of the rising powers, I appreciate your frustration, but I cannot dispatch officers to arrest a monkey. I'll just throw it down the well then. Now I would not recommend you drown the monkey. Fine, I'll just shoot it. Now on second watch, Officer Zaki, you speak good English, right? Why do you want to join the missing persons? Lose a cat when you were 8 years old? I'm allergic to cats. You know, Officer Zaki, I've located 193 people in 27 years on this job. That's an average of 7.14 people you saved per year. 190 of them were dead. Ouch. If you want to be promoted to this department, you should consider if facing that many corpses is an equation you can stomach. Nice pep talk. So, like I was saying, on second watch, I wonder, or I'm pretty sure that the sandstorm is a prevention method by the creature in this movie. Are they tourists? They are here for work. He's a TV reporter. I don't know his face. Hmm. The father was last to see her. Oh, no prints on them. She says the girl was getting these as gifts. Sounds like she was being groomed. Oh God, when they mention that word, or they could be lying. Wow. Always start by looking inside the family. They might have accidentally killed her and are trying to cover it. Hmm. So, production originally utilized the simple title, The Mummy. Throughout the initial phase of development, producer Jason Blum proposed the inclusion of the director's name in the official title to establish a distinct brand identity for the standalone project. 8 years later. So, this specific branding distinguishes the 2026 film from the 1999 and 2017 Universal Pictures releases. Lee Cronin initially viewed the name branding as a bold choice before recognizing the necessity of separating his horror centric vision from the action oriented history of the franchise. I wouldn't say franchise, more the genre. Final marketing materials adopted the full title to communicate the project's status as a unique reimagining rather than a sequel or reboot of existing continuities. Yeah, that's got to be rough for a family to deal with, to say the least. Hmm. The kid in this movie, it was cute. Lord bless my family. Bless those of us who are sitting at the table. Bless the food we are going to eat. Bless the hands that made it. Bless us, Lord, our God, Jesus Christ, amen. Oh, Lord. What is a bridge club? Hmm. Yeah. They're like a hard pass. Oh, my God. I did feel like the mom and the son were kind of shortchanged in this movie. Hmm. pouch. For real, dude. Like, Jesus. Speaking of the film's title, so the production used the code name Resurrected during shut up and eat your corn. That is funny. Like I was saying, the production used the code name Resurrected during filming. Oh boy, Eastern Desert, Egypt. Writer and director Lee Cronin implemented this protective working title to maintain secrecy during principal photography across Ireland and Spain. The temporary designation generated incorrect online speculation regarding a permanent title change prior to the theatrical release. So the studio ultimately distributed the supernatural horror project under the official name Lee Cronin's The Mummy to establish its independence from previous franchise iterations. Well, that can't be good. This was another puzzling aspect of the trailers that I was trying to figure out, because I thought that the marker that he's about to find was a marker to the pyramid, not the sarcophagus itself. Whoopsie. And also, Jesus. And yep. Oh, but it only gets worse. Nothing. They couldn't get a look inside the X-ray or MRI. And the money shot from the trailer.
You are all my children now.
Creepy stuff. But gets even worse. Huh. God. That, like, grip or the curling of the fingers is pretty... It stays that way, the fingers, for the entirety of the film, just showing what agonizing pain this poor soul is in. God help us. And... Oh. That was freaky, the scarab coming out. So, research for the visual design of the mummy included surveying references ranging from ancient North African imagery, to the preserved bog bodies housed at Dublin National Museum. Lee Cronin's fascination with the museum began in childhood when visits to the small Egyptian section of the National Museum in Dublin, alongside its collection of Irish bog bodies, sparked an early interest in Egyptology that stayed with him. Creature designer Arjun Tuitin developed the mummified look of Katie Cannon, with Cronin instructing him to treat the monster as a journey rather than a single fixed design, allowing Katie's appearance to develop after she is brought into the home 30 minutes into the film. The bog bodies in the museum's collection, dated to between around 400 BC and 200 BC, survive in a remarkably good state of preservation, offering a naturally mummified reference point distinct from the wrapped Egyptian archetype of earlier franchise entries. At least roll down the windows. Hmm. Wow. I can't imagine just the rush of emotions that goes through your mind in a moment like that. So, guys, we just passed the half-hour mark, as you can see. If you can hit the like button on the watch, it'd be appreciated. So now we're back in Cairo. Hmm. Hmm. So strange that she would need to be sedated despite being catatonic. This was also one of the points of contention that people had with this movie, where, oh, why would the government release Katie in the state that she's in to her parents? It's like, boy, have you dealt with cases of custody battles or guardianship, and the a government not wanting an individual to be a drain on the state, especially when they're not a national? Like, it fascinates me when people think that they're experts. Oh man, the breathing and the coloration of the hair and skin. Ugh. Jeez. Even the beeps of the machinery monitoring her are. I mean this in the best way possible, but this movie really is a rough watch. Just because, again, it is a child. Hmm. Oof. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. That's That's also kind of crazy. The fact that this entity within her does what it does to the outer body, but inwards they're like normal or healthy, I should say. Oh man. Mm. Oh boy. That's rough. Just the not knowing. And it had been so long. I mean, 8 years. Well, someone got a promotion, I think. Oh yeah, the crash site. He- yeah. Yeah, this was something else that people got offended over. Like, oh, how can you use like artifacts as a reason why you can smuggle someone like that? It's like, again, people don't realize that the number one transport or the number one crime of Interpol, and this is Interpol, happens to be the smuggling of artifacts. So it's like, dude, do your research. Mm. Hmm. Really? I didn't catch that the first time. Oh well. Cute kid. Mm. Oh, this is a rough one. Yeah. Admittedly, this was a the fact that they were so rough with this, it's just like geez, carry her maybe? Like no sudden movements one would think includes a wheelchair being dragged upstairs. And as someone who's had to bring someone upstairs with a wheelchair and down, oh my god, it can it's pretty jarring. Ugh. Oh man. Seeing anybody with that like almost clenched hand. Hmm. I had wondered in my one of my trailer gut reactions to this movie, I had wondered if like this creature was going to have a some kind of animosity towards her younger sister as like a replacement sibling for her disappearance. And this I also thought was interesting, the prayer of the grandmother, because I wondered if the prayer to her to the grandmother's god, if if the entity would treat it as like a rival religion, you know what I mean? Hmm. Ow. Well, Jesus. Again. Anybody going through that, let alone a child, ugh. Oof. Yeah. And like this is enough of a difficult thing to watch someone go through, but then you realize why, or what is causing this. And it's like, oh, it's even worse. Brother's completely freaked. Not to mention the little sister. Why could that possibly be? Yeah, you don't believe that. I thought it said Charlie Brown for a second. God. He just looking at this evidence, you just got to be like, what type of ritual crap was this? Oh. Yeah. They could one thing I will say, they could have spent a little bit more time with the family, like dealing with the absence of the child. Yeah. It's like you're boring me, Mom. And once I discovered that he was a reporter, because I don't think that was mentioned, or maybe it was, trying to remember, but I was curious as to how his job as a reporter, if it was going to factor into the story. If like he was going to go on I knew that he was going to go on some kind of investigation, because at the very least he finds the book that goes into specifically what he's dealing with. Is that his bed or? God, poor kids. And I remember the director Lee Cronin speaking about how one of his inspirations for this movie was Poltergeist. And you can see it from the angle of the depiction with the family. He's like, what is going on? Whoa. Zoinks, Scoob. You're a lot of help, Grandma. God. A crawl space. Because that wouldn't freak anybody right the hell out. Huh. Maybe some spring cleaning might do you some good. Wow, that sound. They just use their crawl spaces in their walls as storage? Like, get a garage, dude. There's a lot of space between the walls. That is frightening, I'm not gonna lie. The cobwebs and everything. I found it curious that she would, like, I don't know, maybe I read more into this, but to me it was very frightening that she, you know, oh god, housing basically a malevolent a malevolent entity would eat something as poisonous as a scorpion. I don't know. To me, and again, I read more into that, but to me, it was just really creepy. And you see, as she's like chewing on it, its tail is like stinging her in the mouth. Feral child. Haha. Dear God.
Emotional damage.
This part I thought was interesting. Yep. Yeah, dude. Old ass car. Like, doesn't this dude like have a good job? Aw. I don't know. I think that the son, not necessarily he's the only one that realizes something is wrong, but he's just the one articulating what no one else wants to mention. Yeah, he's just like, yeah. And the fact that he knew her as a child, like, obviously, is rough to be seeing all of this happen. Barely left a mark for scorpion stings. Really? That was a dumb jump scare, I'm not gonna lie. And this is the part that everyone was pretty much talking about. The grandma seems to be like the only one treating this like it's anything normal. Hmm. Oh boy. You can slightly. How did the toenail boomerang? Oh wait, not yet. Hey, you're not supposed to cut a toenail. You're not supposed to cut a toenail like that, but whatever. Oh man. No matter what scene it is, seeing the hands in that clutching almost gesture is terrifying. How did it land in there? Oh, wow. Good levity. Smells something awfully rank. Well, I mean, she was throwing up something, I don't even, green or brown. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't even. It's like embalming fluid or something. Oh boy, here we go. This. Oh boy, here we go. Damn. Oh boy. See, and even that look that she's giving, when I first saw it, I thought that was, Katie kind of coming to and saying to herself, oh my god, what am I turning into? But now, on second watch, I wonder, is she giving that look because the entity within her is kind of like waking up, saying to itself, oh, here's my chance? Jeez, the feralness of her. And she's just happened to be chilling there at the bottom of the stairs doing God knows what. Oh god, now both of her eyes are creepily open. Good use of strings in the audio. Oh, that's, oh god. Was that the coat hanger or a fire poker? Jesus. Oof. I guess that explains all the scratching, or at least the scratching will be further explained later on. Jesus, woman, all you could think of was your makeup. Oh man, this scene. This scene was so sad to me. The chattering of the teeth, and the father finally puts it together. Yep. He got to say the quiet part out loud. Okay. Well, wow. That was unprovoked. Nice foreboding or foreshadowing. Wow. Ouch. Whoa. News story? Oh, man. Bruh. Uncalled for. Hmm. Mm-hmm. See, even though he apologizes like immediately, I mean, he did need to stick up for himself. I could have used a little bit more of this like tension, a little bit of tension when they were dealing with, not necessarily tension, but like more dealing with the grief of them not having her around, during or before the scene where the police call and find her. I could have just dealt with, the family still dealing with their trauma. Arjun Tuitin served as a prosthetics designer on the film, working through his REN studio based in Los Angeles. Uh-oh. Oh, Jesus. The makeup application for actress Natalie Grace, who portrays the recovered Katie Cannon, ran approximately 6 hours per session. Ugh. Covering legs, arms, head, shoulders, wig work, lenses, and teeth. So towards the end of the film, the skin condition that Katie appears to have is revealed as human skin, with her body wrapped in a very thin strip of human skin bearing writing on it. Right there. The specific material composition of the skin effects, described as a combination of latex and paper-like materials designed to tear realistically without breaking apart, it is not corroborated by available production documentation, unfortunately. Tuiton began his career learning from Rick Baker and Stan Winston. Well, you can't ask for better mentors than them. Yeah, so this is what we see. I was wondering in the trailers where this, I thought it was just wrapping, but it's like another layer of skin. And this mummy wrapping was used to bind whatever entity is within the poor girl. Yeah. Huh. And haha. What about being a undead? Yep, so here is our, not exposition, but, our research, our researcher to describe what it is that we're dealing with. A very confidential one. Yeah. I'll get in more into this towards the end, but I am happy that, the father isn't just a pushover and he wasn't, not doing his job as a father when all of this went down. And this is the sad scene that I was referring to previously. The thought, the visual and the sight and the sound of just that humanity trying to break through and reach out to her father. See, these are moments that were lost on so many people that were hating on this movie. Ugh. That she can only use her teeth and in such a gnarled and, strained manner. Yeah, figured it out. Ugh. Oh, yeah, you can see the desperation on her. See, this is just one of those, foreshadowing, clever aspects of the movie that they don't, critics and reviewers and this film's detractors just don't give this movie credit for, which is I find so baffling. Bingo. The fact that they were able to these breadcrumbs, these clever breadcrumbs, I personally give the film credit for being able to have convincingly laid out how to put the clues together to figure out this mystery. And that's something that, a lot of mummy movies don't have, like actual mystery. Just because you're dealing with history doesn't automatically mean that, oh, there's a mystery to solve. Not really. Like, I wish that more mummy movies would have that. An actual mystery to solve. And then, take it from there. Hmm. Huh. And even how this will be in subsequent scenes, but even how he's able to find what Layla he's looking for, I thought was very, it makes sense, and it'll add to something later on. This I didn't like in the trailer. They made it seem like there were 57 bodies in that pyramid. Hmm. And that line there is a very authentic, genuine expression. Something, somebody in his predicament would say. Hmm. And again, look at how these two aspects play off of each other. A coffin. But even, I like how a question or a train of thought, a train of inquiry from the detective is able to give him that extra piece, or he's able to find the extra piece of the puzzle, but he oh god, this scene, she's able to put him on the right track in order to get him to go down the path of finding the missing piece that he initially had given the detective. It's little things like that that I appreciate this movie for. I just wish that more people would appreciate the small touches. Again, labeling this movie as like a ripoff of this franchise or that classic film, you're not doing this movie, like, you're not giving it its due credit. All right, who goes to the bathroom with the door open? Gross. Oh man, very creepy to say the least. Hmm. God, that lullaby singing is creepy stuff. Freaky stuff. Hmm. Huh. freaky, man. And I didn't like. I thought that was a needlessly pointless attempt at a scare. Like I mentioned this in my gut reaction to the trailer, to the official trailer. I don't know. I don't think your bad guy in your movie should be saying things like that, and it just comes off as stupid. And that part is admittedly kind of Evil Dead esque. Jeez. And does he finally find it? It would be the last one he checks. And bingo. Tut's Treasures. I knew the chocolate was a Tut brand something. And there we go. I didn't want it to happen to Katie. She was my best friend. Mm-hmm. A lot of them. It's only the post office on the map about 80 kilometers. It's right in the middle of the something. What's the nearest city? That's one. That's close to where the plane came down. Search the area. Have you been getting out at all? Out where? You know, out with friends. What's all that green? It's an oasis. No, it's a farm. What type of farm? Just give me a second. Let's see if it's registered. And again, this is another, like, clever, it's a nectarine farm. And pretty rare to have a place like that in the middle of the desert. She connects the dots. The crime scene of where Katie was taken. Bingo. It's crazy that this movie doesn't get any credit, man. Hmm. Hmm. Uh-oh. Now, admittedly, this being a tape and all this does remind a bit of Evil Dead, but still, I think it's a good retelling. Hmm. Yep. Hmm. Rumor. Huh. Or hold it at bay. Contain it. Uh-oh. Oh god, this scene. So before we get to this, director Lee Cronin cited Poltergeist, Seven, and Breaking Bad as influences on the film's tone and themes, as well as Egyptian lore and Catholic faith. He described the film as, quote, one part Poltergeist and one part Seven, but put through through my lens and the way that I like to entertain people, and cited Breaking Bad as an inspiration for the color palette. Jeez. Really? The poltergeist influence refers to the domestic circumstances and the warmth of the family, while the seven influence refers to the dark, investigative angle and the secrets that exist behind it. He stated, quote, I knew that I wanted to bring the mummy home, and ever since I saw Breaking Bad, I have loved that New Mexico feel. That color palette fits my sensibilities a lot. End quote. The Breaking Bad connection extends to the setting itself as the family relocates to Albuquerque, New Mexico, living in the home of the Catholic grandmother, Carmen. An Irish Catholic upbringing gave the director, quote, a good underpinning of uh, of understanding of the film's religious side, while grounding its Egyptian elements that, quote, actually working with people that were from that world, end quote, and leaning on cast members for everyday cultural details. The Mexican grandmother character, played by Veronica Falcone, drew influence from the wise and strict Catholic women the director grew up around. One would think she wouldn't have gone alone, but I guess, since this was a very old missing persons case, it wasn't a high priority. One thing I didn't mention, well, I mentioned this in one of my gut reactions. The fact that gut reaction? No, it must have been before I went to see the movie the day of. This must have been my impression when I was doing my Lee Cronin The Mummy precaution before I headed out to the theater. But the the naming of the mother character, the mother of the family here, as the magician, oh man, that freaked me out. Kind of gave me a vibe of Lord of Illusions, Clive Barker's. I believe that's the final film that he directed, theatrical film anyway. But yeah, it gave me that kind of vibe where, an innocent naming of something much far more sinister. Imagine seeing this in just happening to be in someone's backyard and the markings on it. It's like, yeah, this case is getting stranger and stranger. Chains in horror movies, never a good thing. Yeah, this visual is spliced with the audio in the trailer where they say how many bodies and they say 57 and how many were alive, and then it just like cuts to the next scene. I'm like, what? Were they experimenting with this ritual? Yeah, why would you have an ornament of this thing? I guess she parked her car. The detective parked her car far away. Oh. A prison gate. This has got to be good news. Oh, God. Yeah, she's just looking around, saying to her, like, none of this is making sense to her. Definitely, all of this is ritualistic, but she's got to be like, what? Gee, that impression looks familiar. She's got to be saying to herself, like, what is all of this? Uh-oh. Did she not just hear? Hmm. She said, nope. Not for nothing, but you hear the clicking of. I guess she figured she had no choice. Well, damn. Whew. Yeah, I'm gonna need a. Ooh. And. She must have known instantly what was up, and. I'm seeing this in the movie theater. I'm saying to myself, what is she like? Next one's going to you in you if you don't put your hands in the air. And great scene. And again, like all of the pieces are coming together, and there's still a few more. And even still, I'm saying to myself, like, all right, okay, we know from the trailers what it is that she is giving the detective, but who is this person? Yep. And I got a chill down my spine because I don't know, something about seeing her as an adult when we had only seen her briefly as a child, and knowing that that's the daughter of the magician. Huh. Yeah. Oh, man. Lord God Almighty, I humbly bow to you and beg for the miracle, because only you, miraculous God, can make the impossible a reality. You think they'd have a bigger tub? Hmm. This part I don't remember. Does this have plot relevance? I don't recall. Ooh. Well, someone's awfully sloppy. This kid is funny. Wow. I forgot. I forgot about that. Uh. Mhm. She's not the only one. She's like a gulp. Help her overcome her pain, conquer her ailments, and completely restore. Oh, Jesus, I forgot about that. I forgot that she kicked her. Poor grandma. Like, does this? None of this should have happened to her, but Jesus. Damn. Oh. And how many crucifixes does this woman have? Poor lady. Huh. And the scene from the trailer. Terrible. And oh my god. And if this isn't bad enough. Oh. This part's freaky. The fact that she's just sitting in bed, just nice and quiet. Yeah, this is one of those parts that is a bit too Evil Dead. Oh, Evil Dead in the playing of the music. Oh God. Damn. So May Kalamawi and May Elgidi are the first Egyptian actors to appear in major roles within a Hollywood production of the Mummy series. May Kalamawi portrays Detective Dahlia Zaki, and Cairo police officer investigating the disappearance of Katie Cannon, while May Elgidi plays Layla Khalil. Previous franchise or genre installments set in Egypt predominantly cast performers of other nationalities to portray Egyptian characters. Director Lee Cronin prioritized authentic casting, for this production, collaborating closely with both actors to incorporate accurate cultural details. An innocent child is best as the body lasts longest, but any live human will do. Let us begin. And I don't know, something about like the dark environments, the forensics, the cop, the interrogation. This also reminds me of the movie Seven. So, like I was saying before, El also helped with the Egyptian Arabic dialect spoken in the film. Kalamawi is Egyptian Palestinian and was raised speaking Levantine Arabic, so she had to work on her Egyptian Arabic dialect for the film with the help of El. And damn. Who did this to you? Huh, well, funny you should ask. She's just like, I am in a world of just complete lunacy. I tried to tell the truth once. So she punished me. Yeah. So she was punished. What is the truth? She was punished for sending that letter to Katie's family. Katie is not supposed to be out of the box. The valley is going to be flooded soon. My brothers had no choice but to move it. But it was never moved before. What is it? If she could write a whole book on what it is that they're dealing with. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's just the questions that the detective must be having. It's just like, oh man. Yeah, he's got problems of his own. Yeah, she is freaking out. She looks at least 10 years younger. Embalming fluid. It's like Botox for the dead. I heard she slipped and fell when she was dusting curtains. I heard it might not have been an accident at all. Gossiping hens. That shade of lipstick really suits her though, right? God. So Toby Hooper's 2013 supernatural horror film Jinn provided May Kalamawi with her first major film role. She played Aisha, the sister of the protagonist Salama, in the Emirati production, which was the first horror film produced in the United Arab Emirates. 13 years elapsed between her debut horror role and her portrayal as Detective Dahlia Zaki in this film, marking a return to the genre after a career that moved through drama, comedy, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hooper's Jinn turned out to be his final directorial effort before his death in 2017. Jesus. Tooth, root, and all. And the mom says something sensible. Gee, what took you so long? Yeah. He's finally talking and thinking sensibly. He's like, I see. Jeez. Yep, he's properly freaked. He's like, nah, maybe not. Oops. This part was particularly freaky. Well, she's gonna get quite the prize from the Tooth Fairy. She's like, what? I had seen this part in the trailers where, wow, there's something about two siblings in that situation bonding. And, oh, never mind. Yeah, bonding over their mutual possession. Freaky stuff. Yeah, I'm watching the movie, asking myself what is going on with the wood and the flies. But yeah, in the trailer, you had seen like this, what I thought was a wall, but like made of flesh or something, some kind of like material that was easily separated. I didn't know it was wood. Oh god! And this was also in the trailers, which I had no context for, which just creeped me out. Wow. Big teeth like that. Jesus. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, even if they were going to go the route of, gnawing at the grandmother's corpse, I don't understand this scene, the lapping up of embalming fluid. And the poor actress, ugh. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I could have done without all of that, and admittedly, that does go into like Evil Dead territory, and it just felt like they were just, trying to freak out the audience for the sake of it. This, however, was a pretty good scene. You think that she's just in her chair contorting. The father has, like, nobody has any idea what is going on. Yeah, he's got a syringe to sedate her. Yep. That was... Phew, that's messed up, man. Hmm. And... Oh. He's like, what? Wait, what? Oh. I forgot that he actually saw that. This part, Jesus. I wish... I wish I didn't have to see it myself. Take a swig. Containment. Oof. Oof. They're like, what? Oh. Yeah. It's real. Hmm. Ouch. Oh, this is gonna be hard to watch. So, no, hold on. May Kalamawi previously appeared in Moon Knight, the 2022 Marvel Disney Plus miniseries, in which she portrayed Layla El Fowley, Scarlet Scarab. Oh boy. That production incorporated Egyptian mythology, including mummification, as a visual and narrative element into its storyline centered on the Moon Knight avatar. Oh god. This is tough. Oh man, when I heard that in the theater, like, I was just crushed. Oh, there were other people. There were other, like, cultists there. Jeez. Uh, Again, a very, like, authentic. Yeah, it's just too much. It's very authentic reaction. Oof. This would be messed up if this were, just a regular person, but again, the fact that it's a child. That I did not need to hear. The wooden masks, freaky stuff. And then the chanting. Yeah, they had this chanting in the official teaser, if I'm not mistaken. Huh. Oh, this is so messed up. Yeah, the parents are just like, the binding. Oof. Yeah, they're just they. This in and of itself is traumatizing. Oof. God. And as if that all of that isn't messed up enough. God, the application of the binding. Oh my god. Ugh. I said when I did my trailer gut reaction that something about all of this was giving me the impression of Silent Hill. That scene there with the child is completely covered. Yeah. They are beside themselves. Just words wouldn't do it justice what it is that they've witnessed or would have experienced or endured. They're just frozen. Oh, her pedicure grew back. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, he can't. Hmm. Yeah, it like all hits the fan at once. That was a nice touch. I think they go overboard here at the end with like the bombasticness. He's like, I was gonna have some of that later on. And then this again, the makeup looks a little bit muddy, and it's a little hard to see what's going on because of the sand effects. Ouch. Ooh. Damn. Ouch. What did she bite out of him? And then he's... Is that her son? Yep. Bat in hand. Oh, man. Ah. This also was interesting how everybody, like all of the adults, now have like their own threat that they have to face. Ew. She's like, what? Jeez. Yeah, like the final makeup on the mummy is a bit muddy. Jeez. Oh man, this scene I had wondered like how it was gonna come into play in the movie, and yeah, pretty messed up. One thing I would have found interesting if is that if this creature, this entity, couldn't have any power over the detective because she wasn't part of the family. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is messed up. Oh, and then its tail, the stinger, the stinger hits her in the throat. So I thought she was like as good as dead, and hits her again, and possibly again. Oh Jesus! Well, at least you got one of them. You stay put. That's not gonna work. Damn. Yeah. This is when they have to just accept what it is. This was a noble sacrifice, though. And the trailer did kind of spoil it, but you don't know what the context is in the when you're watching the trailers as opposed to now. Oh God, having to hold your vocal cords together. Hmm. I mean, all in all, this is like a good showing for the father throughout the film. And it's like, I hate to bring this up, but that's not something that we see very often, unfortunately, in horror movies or movies in general. Damn. Oh God. Ouch. Jeez. I mean, I've seen horror movies that that put a family through the ringer, but this one, dear Lord. What a small relief this could have been. This was for the mom, but still, some kind of consolation. Jeez, what they all had been through. My God. I had missed that part. They had the inscriptions all over the walls in the basement. Wow. Seeing her normal as a young as a teenager. That again was like a small consolation for the audience, I suppose. Seeing some semblance of normalcy return to this poor soul. Aw. And after seeing like everything that they had been through, especially this girl, oh man, the relief, the small relief is very much appreciated. And her bonding with her siblings. Hey, normal teeth. I guess they went with this ending because I had seen a deleted scene where it's like 8 months later or something, and they're like celebrating Katie's birthday. I guess they went with this scene so that it would be undetermined how much time passes. Oof. See, I was left wondering like, oh, I thought we were already at the end. And then I'm wondering like, okay, what's going on here? Are they just going to like do a transfer again, but to like I don't know, someone from the criminally insane? And then come to find out that our old friend happened to have made it. Oof, exit wound. Yeah, lunch is early. This was clever, admittedly. You must have taken enough of my blood to fill a swimming pool by now. I wish they would stop playing that music. It's giving me a headache. Haha. Nice. Uh-oh. You are in a world of hurt, lady. Ha 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 ha. And who do we have? Well, visiting hours are now open. This was an unexpected but very good ending. Very satisfying. Hmm. Damn. Great ending. Yep. I really got to give it up to them because I was expecting, just the transfer to the father was going to be where we would wrap up, or maybe the scene with the kids. But this was unexpected and very very satisfactory. Yep. So
And now his watch has ended.
And now their watch is ended.
So let me take care of a couple of closing items before we wrap up. As I was saying before, the climax of the movie, Moon Knight 2022 is a television miniseries rather than a feature film. The claim that this is May Kalamawi's second feature involving a mummy therefore requires clarification, as her prior credit in that field is a television production rather than a theatrical release. Principal photography took place in Ireland and Spain from March 24th, 2025 to late June 2025. Interior scenes were shot near County Wicklow in Ireland, while desert sequences unfolded in Spain's rugged Almeria region. Ardmore Studios in County Wicklow served as the production base for many interior scenes, with the nearby Bray appearing in several exterior sequences. So, this film is a reimagining of the Mummy franchise built around the Nazaranian, an ancient Egyptian demon that possesses victims with exorcism themes, and it carries no connection to previous Mummy films made by Universal Pictures. Producer James Wan noted that most people who grew up in the 2 decades before release knew the Mummy only from the 1999 film, and and for that reason, he wanted the new films distinguished through a new branded title, as I mentioned before, an idea credited to producer Jason Blum. Placing the director's name in the title also served to avoid confusion with previous Mummy films. Up until the release date, an official studio's social media account repeatedly posted, Brendan Fraser is not in Lee Cronin's The Mummy, to clarify the film's independence from the earlier series. The standalone story follows a family reunited with their long-lost missing mummified daughter, who realize something is wrong with her. The teaser poster depicts an extreme close-up of a young girl's shriveled mummy finger pulling back her lip to reveal her teeth. Marketing materials for the production generated public complaints in the UK due to the graphic and unsettling nature of the imagery displayed on billboards and public transport. Lee Cronin defended the visceral design during the film's promotional tour, asserting that the artwork serves as a necessary and honest reflection of the film's horror themes. The central image references the film's focus on the mummified return of a long-missing child and the specific body horror elements involving the character Katie Cannon. The design specifically mirrors a key moment in the film where the possessed child interacts with her own facial features in a distorted manner. So, just in case you want to keep the good times rolling, what say you make a shockbuster night?
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
Make it a blockbuster, right?
So, movies in the vein, pun intended, of this movie, in case you want to watch others of its ilk, would include the obvious one, Evil Dead Rise, Nosferatu, the Silent Hill film, the first Conjuring movie, Lights Out, and a movie from 2009, The Unborn. So now let's give some closing thoughts. So to me, these movies in not just the franchise, because, you know, the Mummy franchise refers to specifically the Brendan Fraser, the Hammer films, the original Universal Pictures. The Mummy is a genre. The movies within said genre, they need to be given room to breathe and to branch out. The complaints about this movie, oh, it doesn't feel like a Mummy movie, again, if you're going to say that, then what you are demanding is more cliches, more archetypes, and no innovation. Again, these movies, they need to be different from one another. And for anyone complaining, look, in, 2 years, I believe? 2 years. You're getting a Brendan Fraser Mummy movie, the fourth film anyway. So, like, the complaining, let's cut that out. They need to, and look, they wanted to go with something more low-key, something of a domestic Mummy movie. and the the thought of using mummy wrappings for something different. Can we please give this movie just like a little bit of credit? Like just to completely dismiss it, I find it to be so dishonest, and that critique in and of itself is dismissible to me. Like if you're not going to give this film any credit at all and just write it off as an Evil Dead or Exorcist ripoff, it's like, bruh, come on, man. There's more going on with this movie. Like that ending, I'll get to that ending in a second. As far as the grandmother's concerned, Jesus, man. I mean, my God. Not since Jurassic World and Scream 4 has there been a character so mistreated that you're left asking, what did they do to deserve that? All of that. I'm of course talking about Granny, and I don't know if you include, like, they keep talking about the Mummy franchise when I was looking at the trivia behind this movie. I mean, again, this obviously isn't part of the Brendan Fraser franchise, but geez, if you were to include the Brendan Fraser trilogy and look at this one as a fourth film, there's something about fourth installments in films, franchises, or genres where you're left wondering, or you're left asking, like, Jesus, I guess characters, there has to be, obligatorily speaking, a character in a fourth horror film where they just get treatment worse than they deserve. Oof, the grandmother, like, just what a gruesome death. Anyway, while I would have wished for the villain, the entity in this film to be something that was actually of Egyptian mythology, the Nazmaranian, the fact that it targets families, to me, it's like the Mummy version of the Russian, I believe, Wurdalak. So that was a vampire that specifically targeted or haunted families. So to me, I thought at the very least you can give it that kind of credit. And to lend credence to that, like I mentioned during the watch, I would have liked it if, because the detective was not part of this family, genetically speaking, obviously, that it wouldn't have had power over her at all and would have had to resort to other means. I would just think it interesting if, like, its targets, it could only target like one family at a time, so it would be powerless against the detective. Now, this was another thing that I found quizzical as far as a critique from other critics and reviewers, that, oh, the parents are so stupid. Like, I don't know. I thought that they were good parents in this film, even though the mom and, like I said, the brother kind of got the short end of the stick. But they were recommended by a doctor to take Katie home. And again, for everyone who was complaining, oh, it doesn't make sense that, oh, the Egyptian government would just release her. Katie's not a national. They would not want her to be a drain on the state. That, like, people who are complaining about that, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's awfully, you have a whole lot of faith in government that you would think that they would take care of a citizen, or no, someone residing within their country who isn't even a citizen. Like, shut up. And again, people talking about, oh, the parents should have taken Katie to a specialist. Word, like, on the off chance that a medical facility somehow specializes in the Egyptian occult, where exactly were they going to take Katie? To the Hogwarts ICU? Do people not realize that the characters in this film, they don't realize that they're in a mummy movie, you morons? God. It's like, it's as if people would naturally, oh, yeah, missing child case. It's reasonable to believe that, she was abducted by a number of cultists in a mummification ritual. So therefore, it's like, dude, the people in this situation, they don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? So to take her to here or there or any old where, like, bruh, they think they want their daughter back. They don't want to have her have been taken to one facility out in Egypt and just transferred to another one. Like, just give the movie some kind of, poetic license or something. Like, give it a little bit of slack. My God, like that, and I kept seeing that complaint over and over again from people. It's like, dude, the family in Poltergeist, they don't go from one bout of paranormal activity to calling for specialist in the occult. No, there's a build up to that, man. And who is it exactly that you'd be able to get on the horn when dealing with something involving a mummy? Ugh. Now, as far as that ending, again, it was a brilliant ending because I just figured the containment, the father's sacrifice, and maybe something with the kids as they saw, and a reconciliation between father and daughter towards the end, that would have been good enough. But the fact that, look, in horror movies, you can get the main threat and then a human villain. Think of Burke from the movie Aliens. The fact that this movie ends with villain, victor, and victim seeing eye to eye on the human villain, again, I gotta give this film credit for that. Now, it's a happy ending, but it's dark. But again, kudos. And I'm going to be doing a video soon where I can go over the ways in which I feel that The Mummy 2026, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, people just didn't give it a fair shot. They didn't give it its due credit. And I just think that it deserves more than that. Luckily, and I don't always champion the foreign market because, there have been some crappy movies that kind of got saved by the foreign market because clearly they'll watch anything. I'm talking about movies like Pacific Rim or Green Lantern. But I'm glad that this movie made almost $100 million. And again, I usually don't champion films that kind of bomb domestically, and the majority of the money that they make is overseas. But I'm glad that this got some kind of notoriety, and that worldwide it almost made $100 million. And to me, this was the best movie that I saw. This has been the best horror movie that I've seen all year long, because to me, this has just been 1 year of nonstop duds. Now, as far as what's on the scene, let's get to coming attraction. So, I hope everyone enjoyed their 4th of July weekend. This weekend proved busier than I expected. I don't think that I'm going to be able to get to my trailer gut reaction to Evil Dead Rise, which I'm very disappointed. But man, the last month has been just a lot more hectic than I thought. But Tuesday, I'm going to be continuing the playthrough of the Midsummer Night's stream with our inaugural July playthrough of Grime 2. So that's going to kick off all of the playthroughs that I have for that game throughout the month of July. Wednesday, I want to do a Evil Dead Rise watch party in preparation for the Evil Dead Burn film. So let's see, that will be what I refer to as a backslash, the inaugural backslash, and that's just a film watch of a previous installment of either a film or a franchise in preparation for the next sequel or reboot or what have you. So I figure do a watch of Evil Dead Rise, because I've been waiting to do that for the watch party the day before the release of Evil Dead Burn. So on Thursday, I will do a precaution and aftershock on my way to the theater. So I'll also try to get a Evil Dead Burn short out that I had in mind. But that's what's in store. That's what's in the pipeline. So I hope you enjoyed this watch of Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I hope you'll give it a second chance, and that people can come back to this film, enjoy it for what it is, grow to have a liking and an appreciation for what the film has in store, and realize that going forward, with these types of films that, hey, it's great that we can have a Nosferatu remake. Robert Eggers' trailer for Werewolf dropped this week, but there do need to be modern interpretations of these classic horror films because it's great to have gothic classics. It's great to have these remakes. I'm not talking about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. That movie sucked. But with you have to try something new with these classic films. And I'm glad that somebody took a swing and a chance with The Mummy. And, there was body horror. You got to give it that. And I understand if you didn't like the comedy, I didn't particularly like it. I wasn't particularly fond of it. But I do think I absolutely give credit because you wouldn't think that anyone would give a Mummy film a chance, but no one thought that they would give a Mummy film a chance in 1999 with the Brendan Fraser movie. You got to remember that. And these movies, they can't all be the same, man. That's the thing that I find so shocking that people wanted the stereotypical stuff. Like, this is why, for better or worse, I'm glad with the Brendan Fraser film that we got in 1999, but there were plenty of Mummy movies that were in the pipeline to be made to have been the original version of the 1999 film, like other directors that were tapped to write a modern or a new Mummy movie. And yeah, I'm glad what we got with Brendan Fraser. I'm glad that he's known. His name is affiliated with that franchise, but my God, stop wanting more of the same. Stop demanding that these films not be allowed to branch out, because then you're gonna run into slasher territory where everything is so stereotypical and been there and done that, and then you're gonna wonder why there isn't anything new or innovative or why everything feels the same. I'm gonna be coming up with a video in defense of Lee Cronin's The Mummy, but that's further down the line. I do hope that you'll join me Tuesday for my July Midsummer Night stream kickoff with Grime 2, a playthrough of that game on Tuesday. Wednesday will be the watch party for Evil Dead Rise, and then Evil Dead Burn I will watch on Thursday, so I will do my precaution before heading out and aftershock upon return. So, mark your calendars and say your prayers. I've been Inkarnate, offering a word of caution. Fear the worst, so long you recognize who's best.
If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to your fears.
Scary night, isn't it? Well, it's like right out of a horror movie or something.
See you in your dreams. Oh, come back anytime. Bring your friends.
Welcome to my